another interesting episode of Labor Lens, where we bring to you update information in the world of work and pay. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's episode of the program, we will be discussing about the quest by workers for a new national minimum wage. But first, let's take the news. We will be right back.
As the strike embarked upon by Nigerian workers over non-implementation of new minimum wage enters its second day, workers in Ondo State Public Service have continued to stay in their homes. Many offices were placed under lock and key as they were literally deserted.
The last minimum wage was increased in 2011. Nigerian constitution says it should be reviewed every 5 years. And now, what we are receiving now is what we are receiving when the price of petrol was still 67 naira per litre.
And in Bayelsa, the organized labor says activities will remain grounded until the federal government meets its demand.
It is not just for workers alone. It is also for the market woman. It is for everybody in this society that those who are enslaving us must stop.
Open! Everybody go out. Any staff, go out. Open the gate.
In Abuja, the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria also joined forces with the Nigeria Labour Congress in its bid to force the implementation of a new national minimum wage by embarking on a nationwide warning strike. The workers are demanding a new minimum wage of about 65,000 naira, a huge increase from the current national minimum wage of 18,000 naira.
Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Trade Union Congress and the United Labour Congress held a monitoring exercise in Lagos. They moved from Alausa to the local airport, Maryland and the Lagos Island to ensure compliance. The Vice President of NLC, Comrade Amechi Asuguni, during the Enlightenment and Enforcement exercise, stated that the current minimum wage of 18,000 naira is not sufficient for a worker.
We are demanding that the wage of Nigerian workers be increased. Up to now, government has not done anything meaningful. They've not even made an offer that we have considered as deceitful, and we are not tired of making this statement.
The monitoring team stopped at major financial institutions in Lagos and other companies to ensure that there is a high level of compliance.
What affects one affects the other. The funds in circulation affects the funds in the banking system. When people don't have food to eat, even those that have to eat, they will be at risk.
80,000 will not even buy a bag of rice, and even if he buys the bag of rice, what about the soup to eat the rice? Another thing. And this is a country where housing is a problem. You pay rent out of that 18,000, then you are supposed to transport yourself up because you don't expect somebody any 18,000 to go and own a car. So this struggle is for everybody.
The National Minimum Wage Committee, chaired by Ama Pepper, was inaugurated in November 2017. On Labour Lens this week, I will be speaking with the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Ayuba Waba, and also with the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ige. They will both share with us update information as regards the current situation of the new national minimum wage. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
The organized labor called for a nationwide strike because, according to them, the federal government is yet to reconvene the tripartite committee meeting. I would like to ask you, why was the meeting initially suspended before now?
Nobody suspended any meeting. What happened or what transpired is that
at our last meeting, because it was a meeting I held on Wednesday, which is a Federal Executive Council day. I had come to the meeting, and in between, before I left, I made a plea for the meeting to allow the government side an adjournment of the meeting for some time, so that we can do all the necessary consultations we needed to do. This consultation was predicated on the fact that we had to meet with the governors. The governors have not produced figures, or a definite figure they want as their own minimum wage. So we needed the governors' input. And that is also why, even though that the National Minimum Wage Committee is a tripartite committee, tripartite National Minimum Wage Committee, meaning that you have employers of labor, NECA, MAN, that's Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, small and medium scale industries employers, all aggregated to form employers as a body. Then you have the unions. For now, we have two federating units of federation centers of unions, NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress, and the Trade Union Congress. We have ULC, which is not yet registered. They are on one side as organized labor. The other people are organized private sector. Then you have government. Government who has a double cap as an employer of people in the public service, and also as the authority, what the ILO calls the competent authority. That's what government is. So that tripartite committee adjourned following my plea. And even at the time of the adjournment, I wasn't there. So because we were not sure of the particular date when we will have finished all this consultation, and when the economic management team will have finished working on federal government figure vis-a-vis the number of public servants and those who benefit from this new minimum wage, and the extrapolation that will be needed in terms of all other workers that are in the service. Because once you move to the national minimum wage, consequentially, the wages of other workers will move.
Why did you not respond to the 14 days ultimatum given to you by the organized labor?
I did not want to go into this area because it's a raw area. The NLC and the TUC issued a 14-day ultimatum, but they did not write to my office. I am, as of today, the Minister of Labor and Employment. And by the normal channels of labor-industrial relations, and even the laws, the dispute laws, the trade dispute laws of the Federation, I should be communicated. And even if it is in the private sector or in the other sector, they do a form called Form TD3, Trade Dispute 3. I didn't even have the privilege of getting a letter. In fact, these are one of the areas we discussed when we met with the leadership of the Trade Union Congress, ULC and TUC. And they found out that actually it was the Secretary to Government of the Federation that they wrote a letter to. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, his job is the pivot of government, takes the input of government and makes sure government business rolls. He is not the Chief Labor Officer of the Federation. I am the Chief Labor Officer of the Federation. And the powers of the Chief Labor Officer of the Federation, as Minister of Government, for Section 147, 148 of the Constitution, you see it.
You had a meeting with the organized labor during the week. Can you share with us what the outcome of this meeting was?
Yes, we met with organized labor leadership Wednesday. We held the meeting after the Federal Executive Council. I came out from the Federal Executive Council to hold that meeting. And we agreed that the National Tripartite Minimum Wage Committee will be reconvening next week, Thursday, 4th of October. Initially, the federal government had asked for 2 weeks, which effect from today, the 27th, and they refused. And we now settled for their own date, which is 4th of October. That is the latest they say they can do. So we now agreed that they will communicate the recommencement of this committee meeting, the reconvening of this committee meeting, because if you remember correctly, it was adjourned sine die. Sine die means with no date, so we now put a date into it. And that was what their council asked them to do. So their mandate was fulfilled yesterday. We didn't expect that they would start going on with the strike today, because that's today, Thursday, the 27th, because we have satisfied their major demand and the mandate given to them by their council. So we're looking as if this strike is really an unfortunate one, because it's not necessary.
You both agreed that the meeting, the tripartite committee meeting, will be reconvened October 4th.
Yes.
Why do we have the strike?
No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know why the strike is still going on, because in this day of technology, social media, disseminating information in 3 minutes, you do WhatsApp, you do email, and the rest of them. I thought that they should be able to have reached all the organs as promised. That's what we agreed on yesterday. And I don't want to, you know, a lot of things are written in the social media. If you go and read, some people say, oh, the strike is self-serving, the labor leaders are going for election in January, so they want to, as it were, let their constituents, their members, appreciate that they're working for them very assiduously. I don't want to believe that, because I'm an optimist, and I know that we will conclude this negotiation and pass the report to the Federal Executive Council for approval and transmission to the National Assembly, where it will be further distilled and pass through the mills of legislative action and consummated into an act by Mr. President signing it. And hopefully, I do think that it's doable, so that we can have the National Minimum Wage Act 2018. I'm very positive about that.
The ministry has agreed to ensure that the tripartite committee convenes October 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that organized labor don't trust the government?
I don't know whether they don't trust the government or they trust the government, but they should be able to trust us. Because whatever we have been promising them before, we've been doing. We promised them we won't retrench any worker. This federal government has not retrenched any single person. We promised them we are going to continue employing. This government is doing employment, even with the meager resources. This government promised them we will defray the allowances that were owed by the Jonathanian government and even some of the other past government, running into billions. We're doing that. We're paying promotion arrears. We're paying repatriation and death benefit arrears. Last year, we spent nearly 75 billion on that. The pensions we are paying through PITAD. Even the pension of the Nigerian Airways just 2 days ago, or a few days ago, we are paying 22.5 billion. Yes, all the promises we made to them, we have been fulfilling them.
Can you share with us how committed this administration is in ensuring that Nigerian workers have a new national minimum wage soonest?
We are going to do that, and I've told you that there will be a new National Minimum Wage Act. That if the National Assembly do the needful, whenever the bill comes up to them, and speeding up all the processes, it will be possible for a 2018 Act, because they have to send it back to Mr. President first sent. So we are doing whatever we can as a government, and I'm happy that we are on the threshold of finishing the work of the committee. Just to put the figures and then wrap it up at present.
Can you share with us why it took so long for the federal government to come up with a figure to negotiate at the tripartite committee meeting before it was adjourned?
Well, I have answered this question before. Government business is not a government business of going to buy akara or bole on the roadside. No, it's not. There must be some work, some scientific projections, some statistics, some data has to be gathered and looked into. The National Bureau of Statistics will do their own. The NISA will do their own and put into government. Then the Finance Ministry will do their own. Then Budget and Planning will also do their own. It's all this that you aggregate. And salaries and incomes and wages will then bring, working with the Budget Office of the Federation that has manpower budget, submit it to them. And that manpower budget is submitted to them, they may not need to take it raw.
It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes, it's day 2 of the industrial action, which actually the organized labor has actually participated fully in. Can you please share with us why organized labor insists on embarking on an industrial action?
Well, thank you very much. As you are aware, the issue of the minimum wage is very dear to all the hearts of Nigerian workers. This minimum wage was due in 2016, but due to our patience and perseverance, we followed up the process until the tripartite negotiation committee was set up in November 2017. And since then, we have kept faith with the process. We have participated effectively. As you are aware, the committee started its work in March this year and has a timeline to conclude its assignment by August, September. Just on the day that the assignment is supposed to be concluded, the federal government, through the Minister of Labor, came with an instruction that the committee should adjourn indefinitely. So that to us means that all the process that have gone into the negotiation process have been put to a stop, and there is no date in sight for this very important issue to be concluded. That we felt is not accepted, more especially also that it's not in conformity with the principle of collective bargaining as set out in Convention 98. We felt certainly that this issue cannot go without also informing government of our position, and we met at the level of organized labor, which we have followed up the process, to issue a 14-day notice demanding that the committee should be reconvened to allow it to complete its assignment. This we thought is sufficient enough because the statutory 14 days notice will have given government all the ample time to actually ensure that they are back to the negotiation table. Unfortunately, that was not done until we had to embark on this national warning
action.
strike.
Okay, warning strike. Now,
Yes.
it's about 2 days to the 14 days ultimatum elapse. The Minister of Labour called for a meeting. Can you share with us what the outcome of the meeting was?
No, the meeting was called on the day that the notice will be expiring. If you recall, the notice was issued on the 12th, and therefore it will expire on the 26th. So the meeting was called that same day, and we, despite the fact that we received the notice of the meeting that same day, by around 10 o'clock, we mobilized ourselves and were able to attend, believing that dialogue will actually try to put the issue into context. So we had a discussion where first they requested for more time, but we said no, that sufficient time had been given to all parties because the committee was inaugurated in November 2017. And therefore, sufficient time had been given. Every party in the social partners have been given ample opportunity to actually get their position prepared. And what we'll merely be doing is to make sure that everything about the minimum wage is delivered on time. So, because our demand is that the meeting must be conveyed so that the committee can be able to complete its assignment and come up with a tentative figure for a new national minimum wage.
But the minister has announced that October 4th is when he has given to organized labor for the meeting to be reconvened.
We have taken note of that, and we have to consult our statutory organs with that information to be able to take a final decision. So clearly speaking, it's not true that we are invited earlier than the expiration notice. And now that we have those details, we are consulting with our organ, and we'll be able to communicate appropriate decision.
But since the demands of labor is for the meeting, for the tripartite committee meeting on minimum wage to be reconvened, why is it that right now the process of strike is still in the picture, since your demand has been met in terms of a date for the meeting of negotiation to continue?
Initially, we said immediately that the committee should be convened immediately. But that proposal he gave us, we need to also consult our government. The process of declaring a strike is not one or two persons' issue. It's a process issue that we had to consult all our organs. And same we had to do if there is any new information, especially with the new proposal that is being put on the table by government through the Federal Ministry of Labour. That we have done the first leg of consultation today, and hopefully tomorrow and next we'll be able to conclude our consultation, and we shall be able to come up with a clear position.
Okay, so you are saying that...
As you are aware, this decision went to our highest organ, the National Executive Council. And the National Executive Council gave mandate to organize labor and the National Administrative Council to be able to take appropriate decision. Organized labor had their meeting today. We will also have to consult the National Administrative Council of our various organs, and then we will be able to come up with a very clear position. So it's not as easy as you thought that decision can just be taken. No, it's a process, and that's why we gave 14 days. If all of these things could have happened before the expiration of the notice, we'll have not found ourselves where we are. So I think it's important that proactively such issues must continue to receive appropriate attention from appropriate quarters. Waiting at the eve of a process to now begin to run helter-skelter will not help us. Every system must plan effectively on how to respond to challenges. This is, I think, one lesson that we can learn from our entire process of engagement. And clearly speaking, it is also unnecessary for that meeting to have been adjourned sine die without a time limit. You can come to a meeting and request for a specific time to do consultation, but not to say sine die without a time bound. That, to us, is like a betrayal of trust. And that's why we have not taken it lightly. And you can also see the participation and enthusiasm of workers. This issue is very key to every worker in Nigeria. Let me also try to put the perspective. When people are talking about labor making demand from the blues, this demand did not actually come from the blues. You remember when the fuel price was increased? Same with electricity tariff. There was a technical committee on palliative. The only and major recommendation on a palliative that can be extended to the workers is the issue of reviewing the minimum wage, which was accepted in that committee report. So when people suddenly wake up and forget the past, we seem to be more concerned. And clearly speaking, workers need to be commended. The unions need to be commended for their patience and perseverance and following up the process until we reach this deadlock that necessitated the warning strike.
But the minister, during an interview which I had with him earlier on, insists that organized labor did not write his office. How true is this claim?
Let me say that is not true. It's not correct. Even at the meeting we had, he tried to advance that argument, and we said no. All of us remembered that he addressed an intensive press conference to say that our notice was a blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
How did he get that information? And I know even in the past, even where he read such an important information on the media, he will invite organized labor for the issue to be resolved. I think there is no media house in Nigeria today that have not actually carried our notice and our 14-day ultimatum. I am sure, because I have the documents, we have written officially to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. He has also showed us the ones he has received from other labor centers to say that, well, it was a narrative. We said yes. We narrated the whole information that led to where the meeting got stuck. But I think he knows the importance of this subject matter. And if he could respond to the subject matter via a press conference and saying that labor is doing blackmail, it then means that he has sufficient information about a notice that has been issued. So I think that we shouldn't lament over those side issues. We should actually focus on the substantive issue so that all of us can get this behind us and make Nigerian workers happy and let Nigerian workers also have this very important issue delivered to them.
Moving forward, we are hoping that by October 4th, 2018, the National Minimum Wage Committee will actually reconvene. Can you say categorically that you can trust the government to its actions or to match actions with its words in terms of ensuring that workers have a new national minimum wage in earnest?
Well, as organized labor, we always approach issues with trust because that's why our workers also trust us. So we approach the meeting with open mind and also hoping that the issue will be resolved because that's the least expectation that we have. And therefore, we have no reason to continue to doubt, except if they continue to play this type of antics of trying to change the goalposts at the end of the game, like it was done on the 5th of September when the committee was supposed to end up its assignment. But clearly speaking, we'll approach every discussion and meeting with open mind and with the hope that those issues will be resolved.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.